So running late to Holy Unction because I don't care what I'm dressed like when I go to church. I mean, if I need to be there, being on time is the most important thing. But I stunk. I mean, I really stank from working and everything, and actually collapsing, going to sleep, and waking up, and then getting a bunch of chores done, walking the dog earlier. So I had to get all beautiful in my suit that I assembled: shirt, tie, jacket, and pants for under $10 at a resale shop. But here it is. I'm going to make a fuller video because I did watch the video on Jonathan Fisk and Pastor Whedon talk about Eastern Orthodoxy, and just some things of like where it goes wrong, why it differs, what are the problems with it, and I understand that they're ignorant. I know why they're saying what they're saying, but still spreading falsehood, whether it's mendacious or not, whether it's an intentional lie or whether it's just incorrect about the church, spreading false information about the church, we still need to respond to that, right? And it's far better to do that than to try to argue with somebody who's trying to claim that you're a devil worshiper. Well, the fact that I just went to confession last Saturday after Vespers and then took the Eucharist Sunday morning should have cleared any bit of that up, and the fact that I had to say the creed and all that. But here it goes. I'll just run through the bullet points real quick, but I'll do a more professional video. I did a video on why the filioque is a bad thing. I'll be redoing that in a better way, and I'll actually write a video out for once. Shocking. I know it'll be the first time I've ever done that. I will I'll deal with his thing about praying to Mary. These things, it should only be said to Christ and not Mary. Pointing out that, yes, the Seventh Ecumenical Council, which, if you're going to learn about Eastern Orthodoxy, that's a pretty big one, and we even have it as one of our holy days, the Triumph of Orthodoxy, at the start of Lent, where we process the icons, that you can spend your entire life as an Eastern Orthodox Christian, from cradle to grave, not once ever offering a single prayer to the Theotokos or any saint, revering any icon, or asking saints for any intercessions. You just can't, tell people that they're, worshiping multiple gods if you ask someone to pray for you, or, show reverence, not adoration, reverence towards something like the cross or a Bible, or, heaven forbid, an image of a scene from the Bible, or a saint, or Theotokos. Now, the funny thing is that they say, oh yeah, but the filioque, that's a heresy. We can say without it, but say they miss the whole idea of that. And the third thing is God, I forgot off the top of my head, but there's tiny things in there too, where he's like, one lady's like, yeah, the worship hasn't changed since the time of the apostles. That's correct. Yet, John Chrysostom reformatted the liturgy. That's why it's the liturgy of John Chrysostom. He did not make it out of whole cloth. And the reason why he did it was basically out of vanity. It's because he just wanted to preach longer, right? And as for wacky teachings coming out of the East, the Donatists, the Circasiliums, the Pelagians, where did they come from? Oh yeah, they came from exclusively the West. And papal primacy and the filioque were the straws that broke the camel's back. There were so many more issues. And since the 1,000 years of separation, there has been so many more issues that piled on. So, I mean, really, if you want to talk about the church splitting, it really split like 700s, 700, I'll say, if not the 600s. I mean, that's really when, because that's the time when you had barbarian kings converting to Christianity. You know, after Rome had been Christian, Western Rome was Christianized, and then it fell to the barbarians who were pagans and or Arians. So yeah, I'm gonna go through that. It'll be probably the only structured video I've ever done. It's gonna happen after Holy Unction, obviously, but yeah, and this is the good thing. This and then questions that people have. It's much more fruitful than arguing with somebody, not about ideas, but about whether I'm a devil worshiper or not. And I had one question for him. Have you ever read the Satanic Bible? And I got a response from an atheist who I very much like. Said, I doubt it. He says that all the early church fathers backed up young earth creationism. Okay. But no, I really did mean to ask him, did you ever read the Satanic Bible? And I also brought up the fact that, this is truth be told, but I also said, what about that Satan quotes scripture in Matthew chapter 4 to try to trip up Christ, right? Now, every Christian and every Jew has to say what Satan said was correct, because he quoted from scripture, did he not? So yeah, I believe what the devil said right there. I don't believe how he was how he was using it. It was incorrect, and his manipulation and his intention was evil. But the heretics and the devil always use the Bible. That's the most dangerous thing in the world, when a heretic gets hold of scripture and tries to misuse. I mean, you could say, you must hate your mother and father. How about that passage? Pretty heavy one. And misuse that. And you could spring a lot of evil from that. What about, I mean, there's tons of stuff in scripture that would say, oh yeah, it came from God. And I agree with, yeah, that's, amen. That person spoke the truth right there. Even Muslim apologists who read from the Gospels, in order to try to tear them apart, we have to say that when they're reading that, yeah, those words are correct. Those words that he just spoke, that he just read out of the Gospel, that's correct. So yeah, when the Satanic Bible rips into hippie culture, postmodernism, and that type of nonsense, yeah, I dig that. I find it interesting. And I also find it interesting that the Satanic Bible is not at all what you would think it would be. It is not a manuscript like the Abramelum or something like that. It's not how to do incarnations to demons. It has some of that crap at the back just cause. And it's because Anton LaVey was a showman first and foremost and knew how to sell his stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. Islam I find interesting. Hinduism I find interesting. Parts of Judaism I find interesting. Is Satanism more satanic or less satanic than Islam or Hinduism or Judaism? All deny Christ, all deny the Trinity. They have much more followers, grant you. And the Satanic Bible never claims to speak for God. So, I find the Quran interesting. I find history interesting. History, holy crap, history is some bloody stuff. History of the Philistines? Oh no, you can't ever look at the Philistines, even though they're recorded heavily in the Old Testament, because you know what? They worship Moloch and Dagon and Astaroth and the Asherah. Too bad. I mean, that's just weird. None of Christian apologetics would exist if everybody took this view. Archaeology? Oh, no, you're digging up statues of idols. Okay. Textual criticism. Oh, no, you can't use that because it says critical in the title. Polygraphy. Oh, no, you have to read pagan texts. Okay, the defense of Christ's existence. Oh, no, you have to read Pliny and Tacitus, who actively persecuted and put to death Christians and worshipped Mars and Jupiter and Minerva. So, yeah. And there's people, and I don't know if they're actual people or stock accounts, I don't know, that are apparently on his side. Then again, I don't know. I would just urge everybody, like, after it became apparent that he wasn't listening to anything that I had to say, because I was just only trying to argue ideas, right? Only ideas. And once he backed into the corner of, there was a video of you one time, years ago, maybe 5-7 years ago, where you said you thought the Satanic Bible was interesting. Therefore, everything that you say, you know. And then the tu quoque, I mean, he uses ad hominem, tu quoque, and, I mean, like, wow. Yes, the devil can and often does speak the truth. Satan often does. If you believe in the Bible, if you believe in the God of the Bible, Satan speaks the truth many, many, many times. Just read Matthew. That's what he tries to do. He tries to, and that's what every heretic, Charles Taze Russell, Joseph Smith, even Muhammad had the Jews pull out the Pentateuch to try to, you know, use that to justify to execute them. Name me one heretic that hasn't used Holy Scripture to create his own cult and possibly kill hundreds, if not thousands or millions or hundreds of millions of people. You're not going to find one. Hell, there's certain things that if Joseph Stalin said the sky is blue, I'd have to say, yeah, he's correct. Oh, you agreed with Joseph Stalin? Well, yeah, about the Nazis being bad and the sky being blue. Yeah, but that's about it. Nope. That means you're a communist. Oh, wait, you were a former communist? Well, once a communist, always a communist. There's no such thing as somebody repenting and getting baptized and coming to Christ. That never happens, does it? That's the argument that's being made. And yes, I was a card-carrying member of the Communist Party. Granted, I did it to pick up chicks, and it actually worked. But yeah, I did that. And you know what? I'll confess to more sins. Because you know what? I have confession, I have my baptism, I have confession, and I take the Eucharist. So, yeah. The only thing I have to do is boast in God and sin. Those are the only two things I can, as St. Paul says. I guess you can't listen to St. Paul either. You know why? Because he was a Pharisee that used to get Christians murdered, killed, executed. He actively tried to destroy the church. He was in league with Satan himself. Simon Peter gets called Satan by Christ. Well, I guess that goes... Simon Peter and Paul, I guess they're oh, Thomas doubted the resurrection. I guess he's out. I mean, this is the argument that's being made. So instead of arguing with somebody who is only arguing with me to get views or something, I'm going to deal with Fisk and Whedon, who I think are good men, but are misleading people about what orthodoxy is. And they're misled themselves, so hopefully they'll say, okay, thank you for giving us the correct response. And then number two, hopefully people will be knowledgeable that no, we do not worship the Theotokos. Peace to you.